Hey, what's up? This is Jake with Exodus. On this week's episode of Whitetail Cribs, we're headed to Kentucky based on all the comments from last week's episode. So thanks for dropping the comments. This is with Mike Schlueter. I think you guys really enjoy it. He shares some of his favorite stories and shows us around his man cave. He has a really cool design on how he shares all of his mounts with friends and family that come over. Before we get into this episode, though, Exodus is about to turn 6 years old, and we are going to be giving special savings to anyone that watches this, that's part of the Exodus brand, and wants to help support what we're doing. All you have to do to find out is go to our website and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and there is a email sign up. And I promise we do not spam you guys. We're just going to be sending out a informational email on when this celebration is going to start. So just head to our website, scroll down, sign up, and we would certainly appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get into this episode.
Hello. Hey guys, what's up? Nobody followed you. You didn't run my wife, did you? Come on and get in here before she comes out here and finds us. Welcome to the man cave. Mike Schlueter, live down here in Hebron, Kentucky. Built this man cave, started it back in 2013, and I didn't have a place to keep my hunting stuff. So this is my storage room. This is where I keep all my tree stands. Shelves are a little cluttered right now. I'll reorganize that at some point maybe. But I keep my tree stands, my bows out here. Over in this area is where my gun safe is. I have all my hunting cabinets. I try to keep my stuff organized. That way when it's time to hunt and I'm taking kids or a friend hunting, I've got all of our cold weather gear. I try to keep different sizes for the grandkids as they grow over the years. They'll hopefully fit into something somehow, I got our turkey stuff in here, our backpacking stuff, our hiking sticks in the corner I made for all of us. Me, the grandkids. Like I said, I like to keep it organized. And up here is what I call the Aerosmith loft. It's just utilize some space up here. It's not real, the ceiling's not real tall, but you can kind of get up there and duck walk through there. But it's enough room to sit down. I make my arrows up there, clean my guns and whatnot. So I like music, so I sit up there, play my music while I'm doing my stuff. Hence the name, the Aerosmith loft. Come on in here, and then this out here, and here is the man cave area, the so-called trophy room. I don't have any real trophy, so to speak. I was always just a meat hunter. I had started hunting in my mid-20s. I grew up in the west end of Newport, and we were right there on the corner of where the Licking meets the Ohio River. So I always went there. That was my refuge, and I always went there and fished. And so we just grew up, none of us hunted. And when I finally decided that I wanted to hunt, everybody's like, what do you mean you want to hunt? And your kids are going to need to know how. We live in the United States. We're past that point in time. Nobody needs to hunt anymore. Then last year with the COVID and the food shortage and the craziness that happened, things that I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. Then all of a sudden, this message of teaching my children to hunt, now I don't seem so stupid anymore. I don't seem so crazy when I say, God told me to teach my kids to hunt. So, and that just led me to, a lot of these deer in here. I mean, they all have a story. The one up here in the middle is from Nebraska. A friend of mine, Austin Lewis, I killed that up there. That's that buck. This one here, the one with the plaque, that's the first one I ever killed. I was hunting one day and I'd shot this buck, and my boy was with me. He was fairly young. I want to say maybe 8 or so. It was getting dark and we could hear coyotes howling, and we just had our little headlamps on, enough that you don't, just enough to see. So I said to him, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you stay here with the deer and I'll go get Mike and his dad. And I'm thinking he's young, and the coyotes, it's dark. And I'm thinking, he's like, I don't think so, Dad. And he says, well, okay, Dad. He says, but hurry up, because if the coyotes come, I can only hold them off so long I only got 7 shots, and I just remember that feeling of pride when I thought, you know, that's my boy. That's what needs to run through our veins, our men in America. You know, is this we need to be men. You know, so up here is a kind of it's called Chase and Tail. It's a tribute to males of whether you're a deer or a man. You know, we're always chase and tail. And here it's the no trespassing sign. Obviously, those don't mean anything to a buck and rut. I mean, they don't read. And so the barbed wire is broken, and he's just broken the barbed wire as he runs from farm to farm, chasing the does, rubbing up trees, scraping the ground, leaving his scent for the ladies, trying to impress the ladies. He's chasing tail. And then over here, you know, you got this guy who's carved his initials and a heart into a walnut tree, trying to impress the ladies, you know. And obviously the no swimming in the pond sign didn't faze him. As he's carving the initials in there, he's trying to talk his, like, oh, you're so sweet, you know, and he's trying to talk his girl into, hey, babe, let's take a dip. So that's what that is there. They're swimming, there's their clothes, you know, chase and tail. I mean, I don't know, what's more American than that, I guess, or really worldwide, I guess, you know what I mean? Got a little tribute here to Native Americans, some carvings. There's the wizard up there. But the club was actually a project my son did in grade school. They were learning about Indians, so we made a bow and arrow and a war club and a shield. I mean, you can imagine sending your kid to school with a war club today, you know, like that. So this deer here with the arrow sticking in him, a good friend of mine, his liver was failing and he was dying. And when I hit the woods, I always mute my phone. That morning I'm walking through and I hear something. I'm like, oh. So I'm amazed. So first of all, I left my phone on, and then I'm amazed that I'm even getting service. And it's Lee, and he's like, did you hear about Matt? Yeah, I did. And so it just got me thinking. I got up in the tree that morning, and I remember sitting there talking to God and crying, you know, saying, is he going to be all right, Lord? Just let me know. I send me something today. I want to take him a liver. So send me a liver. And this buck came along. I shot this buck. He didn't go 10 yards, and he fell over. And I sat there the whole time after I shot it. I was just a mess, crying, you know, thanking God. And then when I left that day, I got the deer and I took the liver to the hospital and said to Matt, I said, hey, I got you a new liver. So I went to see him that day, you know, and he's like, yeah, you're an idiot. I was like, I know. Let's see, this one here I shot with a muzzleloader in Fort Thomas. There's not really much of a story behind that one. The turkey I shot with my son when he was I think he was in the 2nd grade. I was moving a tree stand. And so I picked him up from school and we went down to where I hunt, and I was telling him, you know, what to look for. You know, just don't, hey, there's a tree, I'm gonna put a stand in it. You've got to look for things. So we were explaining that, and then he's like, hey, Dad, it's not dark yet. Can we hunt? So we had like maybe 15, 20 minutes. I said, yeah. We sit down by the tree where we just moved the stand. And we're in this holler where these 3 points come together. And he's calling. So there's these dead logs laying there, and he'd land on one of them. And at that point, all you could see was the orange sky. The sun was already set, so you could just see the orange, the pink sky, and the turkey silhouette. And I had 4 arrows. I shot at him and missed 3 times because I'm thinking, I know that's like 30 yards. You know, it was going up at an angle. So then I was like, wait, this is probably more like a 10-yard shot. And I used my last arrow. My son's going, please God. And the last arrow got him. So this buck here I shot on some land down in Owen County. I had permission to hunt. That was one of my nicer deers, I thought. That was one of the first big ones I got. I never really was a trophy hunter. You know, I always just did more just for the meat hunting, just the experience of knowing how to take to provide for myself if I need to. And then over the years, you know, like I guess for me, I was, not that I was impatient, I just had other things. I had a life to live, a family to raise. So I'd go to the woods, a deer would come along, and I'd say, that's the one I'm taking, you know, and I'd go home and I was happy. But over the years, I've, you know, kind of evolved a little more, you know, in terms of maybe doing the trophy hunting somewhat. So that's when I started to take some of these, you know. This one here I killed 2 years ago, not this past season, but the season before. When it came in, I thought it was a piebald. I saw a 6-point piebald the year before. And when he came in, his face was real low to the ground. I thought it was like a bobcat at first because I didn't see the rack right away. And its face was spotted. That's all the rest of the body was normal, just the face. So when it came in so I'm standing there and I turn, and so the sun's shining through the leaves. And so when I saw the face, I'm like, that's that piebald. And I saw the rack and I didn't even think about it. I just got my bow, drew, shot, and then when it ran off, I'm like, that's not the piebald. So I backed out, and my wife called and said, can you get Tristan off the school bus? So this is my little granddaughter, so I did. And I said, hey, Papaw's going to go back and track this deer. Can you help me? So she was all excited. When I went back, and a buddy of mine that I hunt with, he got off work early and was going to help me look. You know, we're set to look for hours to look for the deer, you know. And started walking. The thing didn't even go about 100 yards. And as I was walking, you could see the belly. And so I said something, and my granddaughter, she takes off running, and like, she found it. She said, I found it with my sniffer, Papaw. This one here I shot down in Fort Thomas, a buddy of mine. So there's some land down there that it's a Fort Thomas address, but it's actually county land. And you can go back there and hunt. So nothing special about that one, just one that happened to come along down there, and I shot it. I got the Bourbon Bar here I made. Made this with a cedar I'd cut down on some land that I hunt, and I had it milled. I let it dry for 11 months. The guy at the mill said about 6 to 9 months it would be ready, but I had some things going on, so it was a little while before I could get to it, but you know, it's rough sawn. I left it rough sawn. My dad was a bartender. He sold cars. He was a radio DJ. He had his own bluegrass show, Jerry Darrell Cutting the Grass. But where he tended bar, he would always sit on the corner of the bar when he was not before work and after work. And his family owned the restaurant. It was called the F&N Steakhouse down in Dayton, Kentucky. So when he passed away, they put his picture above the bar where he always sat. So I built this bar. It's called, my dad's name was Jerry, so this is Jerry's Corner. So it's kind of a tribute to my dad, you know. I try to do just Kentucky bourbons. I had a few people give me some bottles of, there's a Scotch and there's a Colorado whiskey, and I'm not a jerk, so, you know, I say, oh, thanks, but it's mainly just Kentucky Bourbon Bar is what I did. So I wanted to put on here Bourbon Country, and my wife's like, well, that's stupid. Like, Kentucky's not a country. And I'm like, well, I know, but it's like Wildcat Country, Bengal Country, not Steeler Country. We don't like, no. But anyway, so she kept saying what a bad idea it was. Well, what I didn't know is she had cut these out already. So she tried to get bourbons that had to do something with hunting, like bullet, blade and bow, wild turkey, buffalo trace, stag. So she had bought me a bottle of each one of those. So that's why she kept pushing for that. So finally I'm like, okay, go ahead, do it, you know. So yeah. But yeah, she made that for me. Cut that out on her Cricut. And that's, I guess, kind of the story of my man cave. There's a few things here. This here is something my granddaughter bought me for Christmas. So you know how kids are. You know, Santa's here, they lose their minds. So this little 4-year-old girl, you know, she was staying with us for a while, her and her mom, and she came down and Santa's been here, and she's excited. She comes down and she runs over to the tree and grabs, she says, Papaw's first. So she bought me 2 things, a pair of socks and this. And she said if I wore this, it would bring me good luck. So, I'm kind of like, oh, thanks. Well, I went hunting, and she's telling me, now, Papaw, you make sure you wear that. So I got to the tree, and I put it on and took a picture, and I was going to take it off. And then I thought, you know what? My granddaughter, she bought that for me. She didn't even open her presents. She wanted Papaw to open his. So I said, I'm going to wear it. So there I sit wearing this, and a doe came along that day. I shot her. And as I was climbing down the tree, I start to descend the tree, and I hear, I'm like, what is that sound? And I remember, like, oh, I got that on my head. But yeah, I've wore that a few times hunting, and it's actually, it's actually brought me good luck. There's just a lot of things in this thing that I'm always adding something. If something's in here, it's in here for a reason. It's in here because it has some type of meaning to me. I'm kind of a sentimental guy, so fun-loving guy, but I'm a big, I'm a softy, crybaby at times. So I don't know, just things mean stuff to me. Family, so everything in here kind of has a story. That's my man cave. My so-called trophy room. I mean, like I said, it's nothing over the top. It's mine. I'm proud of it. Always a work in progress. I appreciate you guys coming by today, but I'm sure the wife has projects for me to do and probably got to cook dinner or something. So, until next time, guys, appreciate you coming by, and have a safe journey home.